Bag.
What a way to start.
Behind the scenes mess that I can't even.
Oh my god. I was dumping out my makeup bag.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what you doing? It was making a weird sound, and I kept asking Cindy, "Is she passing gas?"
I heard you. I heard it all.
You thought you were tooting and you weren't. You were just clearing your
He's
makeup.
like, is she farting?
And then it just kept going. I was like, "Wait a minute, she can't be. Dominique's a man."
I cannot.
Oh gosh.
That is
That's
so.
funny.
That was great. And you know what? That's a crazy intro to our topic this evening because, of course, due to the month, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we are going to have an episode on mental health awareness, women with it, and the importance of it. So sorry to start that off laughing.
So
It had
let me do a
I
terrible
know.
dad joke. Did you just say women with mental illness? Isn't that all of them? Doom doom. No, you fools. It's-
what?
guys have their dumb jokes. Like I know
Ah, not
crazy
all of us.
woman, just one of them, and it's like, all right, settle down. We can have our jokes, but mental health is so so important. And
It
for
is.
the longest, I want to start with this. And it stems from having an argument with someone about a whole nother topic where they said they need to bring back the asylums. And I said, the asylums? You mean the place where people got put there for profit? Especially, you would have back in the day a husband cheat on his wife, and because she found out and she's mad,
Yeah.
he'd have her committed to a mental asylum.
hmm
Wow.
Like, what?
Wait,
Yeah.
people actually think like people want that to come back?
Yeah, they think because everybody that has a, so the big thing going around is I argue with people all the time. They go, the world's getting soft. Everybody has a mental health issue. Everybody's crazy. Everybody's got ADHD or some anger issue or anxiety. We didn't have that back in the day. And I'm like, you
Yes.
did. It's just that today, me and my friend Sydney and Darvinique would sit down and talk about it instead of
Correct.
me stopping at the bar on my way home and then going home and then smack my wife because she made casserole again. We don't handle our problems like y'all did. We actually talk to people.
It's true.
Right.
Like that's what I was saying. Like back in the day, like it. I even remember when we were younger, we didn't really have ADD and ADHD started coming around those things. But besides that, anxiety, even
Yeah.
depression. If you had therapy, something was wrong with you.
Correct.
Like even like when I was younger, it was like that where it wasn't something you talked about. Now, all of y'all have had it for forever. Even the boomers and the ones before them have all had mental illness, but they just didn't know. There was no term for it. Nobody had a way
Yeah.
to acknowledge it. So nowadays, everybody just looks like they have problems, but they all have those problems. Like
Well,
you
they
said,
had terms for it. It's just that the people that did the things that you said that would make it a negative thing, they didn't know. Like people who actually sought help learned those things back then, and those are the people who, helped their children when they went through that. Depression is the big one, especially for guys.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Guys cannot admit when they're
Mm.
depressed. You know,
Mm.
because you think about it like this, and you guys are women. It's not every. It's a lot of people's fault. Society, doctors, a lot of people. But think about it like this: as a man back in the day, and I'm not even talking about 100 years ago. We can just talk about the 2000 early 2000s, 1990s. If I'm trying to approach a woman, don't no woman want to be with me if I tell her I have a mental health issue that I'm dealing with.
Oh yeah.
Right. Right.
It's a weakness.
Mm.
But
Mm.
Baby, I have anxiety. She looking at me like, anxiety? You better get a job.
used to be you even when you felt a certain way, get up and do what you got to do. And
Yeah.
nowadays, I think what
Yeah.
people now we are catering to that, like not catering. I don't know the
Yes.
best word. We're now acknowledging it that it's a real
Yes.
thing. And so
Yes.
we're not like, get up and go now. It's like, okay, and I'm pro
Yeah.
therapy, so get therapy.
I think for some it's kind of been taken too far. Like some people are pacified and using it as a crutch. And like for me back in the day, shoot, you just got up and you had to still get up and work through it. You get up and go work through it. And I wasn't born with the silver spoon in my mouth. I think we can all, understand that. So there was no time for depression. There was no time for, I have anxiety. There was no space for that.
Are you
Get your
sure?
ass up and yeah.
Well, Dominic, I see what you're saying, but my caveat to that is you got up and went to work, but that didn't make it go away. It
It
was
didn't
still
make it go away. I didn't have time to deal with it. So I carried it on my back and I worked with
right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
But it never was unpacked. I didn't know why I was feeling anxious. I didn't know why I was, um, you know, I couldn't put it, there was no label for it. Why am I feeling scared today? Why am I feeling like something's going to happen? Why am I feeling sad and I don't want to get out of bed for for 3 months? You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, there was a label for it. We just didn't know because we didn't travel to those fields. We didn't. We knew of people that weren't in our circles that got therapy, but we didn't know what they were discussing in therapy, and they were discussing these very things
right.
we're talking about now. You
Yes.
know, and the way like we say unpacking, I could see where people unpack it. Sometimes when I would see a parent spanking a kid and I hear the words coming out of their mouth, sometimes I'm like, is the spanking about what the kid did, or are you still upset about your crappy day at work today?
Mm,
Because
Ooh,
you're
ooh,
spanking that kid seems a lot more. That's the overreaction to there was a spoon
mm.
left in the sink. Should it be to get spanked from the sink all the way back to the back bedroom?
Oh,
Something
no.
yes.
Something else. Yeah.
you
Ooh,
know.
that's good. That's so good. That's so good. And that is some unresolved issues within the parent
Hmm.
or the adult or the guardian, not knowing how to regulate their emotions and how to compartmentalize what they're dealing with as adults and transition to, okay, now I'm talking to a child. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I stepped into when I became a parent was not using what was used on me with my children. And so I took parenting classes, I took therapy, I took you know, courses to not well, yeah, I'm gonna say it to learn how to speak to my children in a way that I can relate to them and we can communicate on a better level instead of I'm the parent, you have no say so, everything I say crosses the line. When they have a voice too and they have feelings too and their world is important too. And I would say my older generation, my grandma and, so forth, she doesn't understand that type of communication with the child.
Sydney,
Yeah.
there's something important in what she just said. See, some parents fear that because they hear these words differently. When you say communicate with child and have an understanding, they feel like they're losing parental authority. That's not true.
Mm,
They still know who the mama is and they still know who's in charge, right?
amen to that.
Make no mistake about that. They
Mhm.
understand that.
Yep.
And the people that go, well, this is what was done in my day. And look at, like my mom, she used to try to smack my nieces and nephews over the head. And I'm like, stop it. She's like, well, they're being bad. I was like, no, well, they're acting out for a reason. She's like, well, I did it to you and your sisters. I was like, you have two daughters with a combined 9 children, and your son's a whack job. You think it worked? Like,
Working for
because
you.
I think about spanking, which leads, and I think spanking, people, especially old school people, they love to pretend that whoopings and spanking had no effect on them.
Mm.
But you can
Mm,
see it does in the words that they use and say. And my question always to a parent, now I don't disbelieve in spanking. I've spanked before, but it's the whoopings that I disagree with. Because I'm like the lady said, well, I whooped him because of this, this, and that. I said, and how many times has he done that? Oh, this is the third
mm,
time he came in late. Well, obviously the whooping is not effective. So we just gonna keep whooping him?
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you punishing him or are you making yourself feel better?
Mhm. Mm, that's a good one.
Most
That's
likely making
good.
themselves feel better.
I want to ask you both the question because it's going in two different directions. So, Darvinique, how were you aware of your mental state when you became a single mom?
Oh, I was very much aware. I was like, it's fucked up. I gotta get it. Sorry, excuse my language, but I felt I was more aware of it as a single parent because whatever challenges I was dealing with, it's so important to have two parents in the home because what one parent doesn't catch, the other parent can pick up or you can bounce off of that. And I realized how stressed I was as a single parent, and I went into therapy right away, immediately. Like after we split, within that first year, I was already in therapy because I knew I couldn't serve my children because I couldn't even serve myself.
Hmm.
You know, so that was it very early on.
So, Sydney, I'm going to go in another direction with you. Being having what do they call it today? An alternative lifestyle. Okay. Now, the mental toll of dealing with that so what age were you?
When I like came out.
No, when you knew. Who cares when you came out? When you knew. Yeah.
I mean, I knew since I was at least 12.
Okay. That's not a bad age. Younger is usually, I mean, it's still early.
I'd like to say I knew younger, but I really knew like
Mhm.
12.
Like
Yeah.
nail in the coffin. This is what it is. You were 12. So how did you internalize and deal with that mentally before you came out, like leading up to that?
Mm.
Took me a long time. I mean,
Was it depressing? Were you anxious? Were you, because these are the words we didn't know when you were 12. You didn't know you might have anxiety trying to tell the story.
I
Well,
was all of
Wow.
that. I think all of my behavioral issues during that time were due to that as well. It was just very much like I didn't want to be that. You know what I mean? So I was like, nah. Like, so I think that's what it was. My behavior at the time, it was, of course, I had anxiety, I had depression. I mean, my mom got me therapy at times throughout life. And
Mhm.
then that was never what I used as the root problem. I denied it and denied it and denied it until I felt, it's actually until I moved away. Well, before I started kind of coming around to it, but then when I moved away to Florida, is when I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like be different, be me. Took me a while, but it's like, yeah, but it always did. I mean, now that I look back, yes, I can see a lot of my depression, anxiety, mental health problems then, and behavioral issues then were due to that. Not
Mhm.
just, I had a lot, but it was a lot of that.
what's the terrible advice that really annoys you both?
Hmm.
Friends are weird. And what I mean by that is we have friends and then we have people that we think are our friends, right? And I always say a friend's number one duty is to enhance your joy and divide your pain, right? So, you know, Darvinique, when you call, like we're not going to get into why she called me. When you called me a couple of weeks ago, remember I was so torn up because I didn't get to get back with you,
Mhm.
and I know a friend is going through something. And when a friend is going through something and they confide in me, I like to give them advice, options, and things that can actually help. What I hate, and if you guys can tell me what annoys you, when you talk to a friend, quote unquote, about something, and their response is the stereotypical stuff. Take it one day at a time, pray. Um, it's okay, Darvinique. You'll be all right. You'll bust right through. That's just pretty much saying, all right, you're good. Now I want to get off the phone. That's what that sounds like to me, right? Like, I want to get off the phone. What's some advice that just annoys you when you're going through something or you see someone going through something and somebody gives them those cliches?
I feel exactly the way you just expressed it. Like that's not what I want to hear. That's not enough of what I'm to even help me in what I'm going through. It's just like, and I've been that person before.
Mm.
oh, I hope you get through it, kind of thing. And then and then I've had someone say it to me, and it just doesn't feel right. It's like it's not fulfilling. It's not
It's disingenuine. It doesn't
doesn't.
seem genuine.
Yeah, yeah. And then sometimes, you what if you don't have the resources to help them out?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or what if you don't have any other options? I think the best you can do is just kind of empathize with them,
Yeah.
sincerely empathize with them. But I don't like feeling like I don't like the feeling when somebody comes to me with a problem and I genuinely can't help. I feel
Yeah.
helpless and it's awkward and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I hate that too. I mean, you want to annoy me with some advice? I'm going to be honest. Quote a Bible verse at me that will annoy me. Um, if you tell me, I hate when people, I don't like when people take the advice and are always like, well, there's a reason you're going through it because God has a reason for it. And it just freaks me. And
You know what
cringe.
scared me about that response? Because I mean, I'm not gonna act like I'm the biggest religious guy out here. I'm one of those people that annoy Christians because I say I'm spiritual. Yeah, I believe in God and I
spiritual,
have
but
my
I'm
own
not
relationship. I don't go to church. I don't, and I'm not telling anybody
nope.
to take that journey. But I always feel like God has a plan for you is a lazy man. I call it a lazy person's answer.
Yeah.
It's the
I hate
go to. It's like Hannibal Buress made a joke. Don't pray for me. Fix me a sandwich. I said I'm broke. I need some meat. Don't pray for me. Fix me a sandwich. You know?
one of those things where yeah, it's like I don't like the mentality where like anything great happens, it's all due to God. Anything bad happens, it's a test for you from God. Like it's there's no, you know what, it drives me crazy in that way. Like I'm very spiritual and I believe in a what people would say a God, a higher thing. Yes, but it's like don't act like it's gonna come down and fix everything. Like it just bothers
Mm.
me. And that's the only if you pray about it, it'll get better. No,
It
no,
can be both. Like
that
I
works.
love and I think Sydney we're saying the same thing. I love and hate that advice.
Yeah.
I love it when it's genuine and somebody is adding something to it. I hate it
Yes.
when they just throw it out there because that's the way they want to have the
That's
conversation and
what
deal
I'm
with their
trying to
person.
That's
say.
like a mask of the other answer. It's like another. It's like you get what I'm trying to say? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you'll get through it,
Yeah.
or like it's
Fancy.
giving them that answer, but in that way.
Yes, it's like you just want to give
Mhm.
it to the that's and you said it perfectly, Coney. I wasn't getting the words out. It's like, yes, I'm spiritual and I believe in higher things, but I don't need you to it's like the whole like it's a lazy thing to drop your religion on me and
No,
tell me
it's like we all
Mm.
played sports. It's like the team that wins, the guy
yeah.
says, you know, God wanted me to hit the home run and win. So you think God hates everybody on the other team? He didn't
Yeah,
want the you think God's really involved in your baseball game.
can't some
Like,
things be you?
like slow down. But what I
It
want
just ugh.
so when we say the word mental health, one of the problems is when people hear mental health, they always think extreme, crazy. They're not thinking mental health is a wide variety of things, from simple
Yeah.
depression and
Yes.
Yeah.
It can be
after a
OCD.
breakup for
It can be
women.
something like OCD.
Okay.
Like
Mm.
Well, I want to get into some women specific things. So
I struggle with
let's say after we can do with breakup and divorce because I think me and Darvinika are the only two people on here that have ever that have been divorced. But Sydney, we know you've broken up from dates before. You're not dating the first person you've ever dated. Um, and I know it varies depending on why the breakup happened. But of course, the hardest ones are the longest relationships, right?
Mm.
Probably for a couple months, who cares? You get over that soon. What are the steps you take for your mental health? And that's what people don't think about when they break up with somebody. Because I know a lot of people go, F that, they cheated, I don't care. They're out of here and they act like nothing's wrong. Everything's perfectly okay and they're strong and they'll get through it, which we know that's not always the reality, especially if you were emotionally invested in someone for such a long time.
it's
What's
yeah.
something, I'm going to talk about something I do to get over it, but I want to hear from you ladies first because it's your show.
Like what do I do to get over it
Well,
after a long
just
breakup?
people, things that you can say, steps. Like, you want me to go first?
Yeah, please go first.
So
Well,
one of the things I do, especially if, let's say I've been in a relationship for 5 years. I was in a relationship with someone for 5 years, right? I'm a person that when the writing's on the wall, I like to break up before we hate each other. But this one, I didn't do that, and we got to that point, right? And how I mentally get over is I stopped. I didn't focus on the last 18 months that was horrific. I focused on the first, whatever the math is, the 3.5 years that were great.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, here's this person that I've dated. 3 years were amazing. It was everything I wanted. It slid down somewhere it shouldn't have went. What do you do about it? It's already happened. I know that sounds easy, but I'm like, there were great times there. We didn't just work
mm,
out. And for my mental health, what we have to realize is every relationship has a time limit. Friendship, job relations, business relations, marriage, there's no guarantee that it's going to be
oh,
forever. Everything has a cap, and you don't know what that cap is. And if you get
wow.
to that point where you realize, hell, we were there to 20 years, don't be sad. I'm not saying don't be sad, you're going to be sad, but focus on you just had a good 18 out of those 20 years, great, and it just didn't end good. That was the
Mm,
cap of that relationship.
mm.
Get through it.
Okay.
I love that. I love that. And that is a new, thing that I've taken on with allowing the seasons to change and stop trying to force something to be forever when you feel the time is up. But
Mm,
but I think
Mm-hmm.
it takes a very sensible person to know when a season is up opposed to you just having a challenge in a normal relationship. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And so, Keone, this question is for you. Am I hearing you say that relationships are not forever? Or,
Most of them aren't. We weren't. First of all, we weren't made to stay with one person. That's an idea that we'd love to have, right?
uh-huh.
For many reasons. One, because you may find the love of your life, right? Some people do find the love of their life. Some people find the love of a section of their life.
mm.
Just because you married your wife at
Mm,
22 does not guarantee that you're going to be married at 60. You know those people that have been married for 50 years, but they haven't slept in the same room for 30? You know,
I
uh,
think
but they're not talking about that part, Keone. We don't know.
I think most people get married
no.
with the intention of staying together
Yeah,
forever.
they do. Well, no one wants to get married to say, "Hey, Sydney, let's get married. I think we can get a good 5 year run out of this." But staying together just to stay together doesn't make it any better. Now, when you said the thing about challenging a relationship, you have to define your challenges. I have friends that they're like, "Oh my God, I just want to leave him or her. They cheated." I said, "They cheated? Yeah. The first two times is okay. That's not a challenge anymore. That's a
Mm,
you need to. Why are you still with this person? You
Mm-mm.
know."
mm,
A
Yeah, no,
mhm.
challenge is me
not
and
a,
Darvin are married and we both lose our job at the same time.
Mhm.
That's a challenge
Right.
out of our control. A challenge isn't I decided to bang the waitress behind a dumpster on our anniversary and left her at the restaurant and got there 2 hours late. That's not a challenge. That's
That's
me
not a
being a
challenge.
so I
Right.
think because younger women will get from some older women, girl, make it work. No, he's cheated on you 3 times. What are you making work?
mm-mm.
Mm, mm,
One time, I'm gone.
Yeah,
mm, mhm.
you have to
Right, because that
endure.
is a right. Mm,
He's
that's
a
good.
good
Yeah.
man. He just has flaws. Yeah.
Nah,
Hey, that could be
Mm,
true.
that's a
He's a good man
choice.
with flaws doesn't mean I need to be with him.
yep. You can
That's
feel how
good.
you want to feel, but your actions are going to speak louder. So if you
And
want
let's talk about let's
I feel like Sydney would say, "Well, if he's so good, why don't you marry him, Mom?"
me too. Me too. I feel it too. I feel like that's what she would say. Okay, let's talk about the mental challenges that come when someone has cheated
to,
and you stayed in a space of I forgive you, let's get through this. That's mental torture within itself because every time the person leaves, you're thinking that can be another
Well,
possibility that they would do it
oh,
again.
see, but here's the thing.
A lack of trust
So
forever after
there's
that.
It's
two.
the trust.
Well,
Okay.
here's the thing that I've gotten, and you guys can correct me because you're women. I'm not. Most of the women that I've dealt with will tell me this. Like one time, they can forgive a guy for cheating. They can. This is what they're telling me.
No.
They understand
Mm.
they're flawed just like they are, right? What they can never forgive is the lying after the discovery. It's one. So if Darvinique comes to me and we're together and she says, "John, who's Teresa?" I already know she knows who Teresa is. She wouldn't ask me.
Mm-hmm.
So you try
Mm.
and you beg for forgiveness. You don't go, "That's my cousin." See, now you don't. Now you're playing. Now I'm playing Darvinique like she's stupid. That's the
Right.
thing you can't forgive. It's the constant lying after because now I can't trust you.
Now,
And
you know what it is for me?
don't say I forgive you until you do. That's the problem. Because once you forgive somebody, it's time to move past it. But if you're
Right.
not ready to move past it, why are you forgiving them?
Mm-hmm.
Is that for them or
Mm.
for you? Because the person who cheats always wants to move forward the fastest.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Can we get through
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
So don't
That's
forgive them
true.
until you're ready. No one says
Mm.
for you. It's good to forgive. We should always forgive, not forget. But who the hell put a timeline on when you need to forgive me?
Mm. Mm.
Baby, you
And
ain't forgive me yet. That was 4 months ago. When you gonna forgive me? When I'm ready. Now, once you forgive them, that's the thing I was circling back to Darvinique when she said the mental health. You have to be mentally ready to forgive them because
mm.
now you make it worse. You become the villain if they are doing the right thing. Because let's say it happens. Some
Mm.
people are not serial cheaters. They screwed up. There's no excuse for that. But now, every time I'm 5 minutes late, you're in my shit. Now you're
Mm.
the one that's taking it down the dark path of where now I'm getting angry all the time because you keep
Yeah.
accusing me of cheating because you were never ready to
Yeah.
forgive.
That's good. That's good. And yeah, that's true. That's the hard, that's the challenge. That is the challenge, and that's what people have to realize and comb through, you know? And so for me, it's not the fact that you cheated, it's how the journey to get to the cheat, the manipulation, the lies, the curved
Yeah,
conversations, the half, that is
the
what,
lie. Yep.
that part,
What they tell me.
not the
Yep.
actual act, but what you did to get there.
Hmm.
And so that's the part that hurts the most.
Because they don't just, unless it was like a one nighter at a bar or something that you just met this person. But it's like usually they have a whole emotional thing before it gets to that physical thing. And you keep putting yourself in that situation to cheat. Like I say,
Yeah.
everybody has potential. Just don't put yourself in a situation to do it in the first place.
Because
But
everybody's capable of doing it. It's a choice.
I
Yeah, my
think
wife.
I'm just like that's my draw line. We can have financial issues, we'll get through anything. That doesn't it is what it is. Whatever. We can have differences, we can have this, but you cheat, goodbye. I
Yeah,
just
well,
don't
and you're perfectly, and nothing's wrong with that. Everybody's got
I
what
can't.
they're in.
I give all my trust. Like
Mhm.
my wife has all my trust. I trust her whatever. I do not think she would do that to me, but like until you break that, I'll never
Mm,
get it. It'll never
mm,
come back. I'm never going to be confident that you'll never do it again
Well, you
because
have
right.
to. You have to get people who don't give all their trust. I'm like, why are you married? I remember, like, people would ask my ex-wife, he's hanging out with other girls. She said, I don't need to trust them. I need to trust him. And
Amen to, ooh, that's good.
yeah,
and
I trust
me and my wife were married for 9 years. I maybe had her cell phone once, and she maybe
yeah.
had mine once. And like, you don't look at his cell phone. She's like, if my husband wanted to cheat, why does he need my cell phone? He could just go to Walgreens and ask the cashier, what time do you get off? 5? I'll be here. I don't need the text.
Yeah.
Like, so who wants to live like that? You
You
know?
Yeah.
shouldn't have to. I mean, she's until you break it, you have it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes. Oh my
like
good.
yeah,
Now,
she has
Sydney, you're talking about something different. Like your standard is you cheat once, I'm done, which is perfectly fine,
my
and that's good. But we're talking about the people who are willing to forgive, and that's the thing.
I'll
I'm
forgive
saying
you.
don't.
I'll forgive you
Well,
right away. I
I'm
ask you to
talking
be
about
brought
the.
back to the door.
No, I got you. I'm talking about the people who are forgiving but staying together. If you're
Right.
staying together, don't forgive until you're ready.
That is
Yes.
Or
true.
it's not going
Yes.
to turn out
That
good.
is true because you do, if you decide to stay and forgive, you are making that commitment. You are, and you can move past that, and you are going to,
Mm,
which is why I'm saying I don't have that capability. I won't move past it. I'll forgive you, but I'll never trust you again. And to me, that's just not enough to be in a marriage. And so I would be gone.
right.
Um,
Yeah, me too.
yeah, I would be gone. I'm worth more than that. And don't do that. If I don't do that to you, don't do it to me. And so I don't know.
How do
I
you
just,
guys feel? And this might curb why is she doing it. How do you guys feel about the statement that's been said for many years that mentally men cheat? It's all about the sex. When women cheat, it's all about emotion. And I used to say that's BS. But every time I hear a guy cheats, it's like guy chick got caught at work, in a motel, behind a dumpster, in a car, at a park. Every
I think
time, and a lot
some,
of times I hear a woman cheat, it's my friends will be like, "She was in our bed, in our house," and it's like it drew my conclusion that it's an emotional thing. For now, of course, we have women that are hoes just like men, but most of the time, it's an emotional thing.
yeah.
You're not giving her something that she's clearly giving you hints, or sometimes just flat out telling you she needs,
Hmm.
and then someone comes in that's giving her that and that emotion starts to
Uh
switch.
huh.
Whereas a guy, it's like she's got a fat ass. Let's go in the desk.
I think it stems all the way from the household and marriages at times. Like, think about it. Women, they need something. They don't want to take care of another man baby. They don't want another child in the house. And sometimes when they get that, they can be enhanced by this. It'd be easy if somebody is ready to romance you and treat you, you know what I mean, where you're always taking care of somebody in the house, which is why I feel like that emotional happens. And then men say they're not getting it enough. I feel like the visual side of them, that's when sometimes that becomes more of a hit and done thing. It's
See,
not
the
as,
statement that you said is a problem for me, and the reason why it's a problem is because
I'm not
I
saying that's it every time. I'm just
no
saying
no no
like,
no 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 not the ending. Something you said in the beginning. It's nothing you said wrong. One of my biggest monikers has always been when people go relationships are hard, and I'm like, no, they're not.
hmm,
Getting in a relationship is hard. Being in a relationship is supposed to be the easy part. You know what I like. I know what you know what I don't like. I know what you don't like. Why the hell am I doing it? Why the
that's
hell am I doing it?
yeah.
If Darvinique and I have been courting, oh my God, I sound old, and she's a stickler for being on time,
Hmm.
why the hell would I keep showing up late? I
Yeah.
know that pisses her off. I
Hmm.
would do my damnedest
Mm,
to show up
Why
early,
do people keep
right?
doing it
yeah.
then?
So
That's the
when you say
question.
Yeah.
a woman doesn't want a man baby in the house, you married him.
That's
You, and that's the thing. And I'm gonna go to the lady side because I trash men enough as a man.
no, actually, you're actually right about that. That's actually a good altered thing. Is you married him? Like,
Yeah,
should have known that
because
before.
most men don't try to change the woman they married. They married her because that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
Whereas a woman
Mm,
can see a man and go, you know what?
Yeah.
I can change him to what. If you got to change him, it's not like Denzel Washington always was asked out of all your characters because you know you were a heartthrob for most of your career, still is to a lot of women. What character do they love the most? It was Lorenzo from Training Day. They go, why? That's the only bad guy you've played. He said, you know what they always tell me? Because when they tell me that, I go, you know how much of a terrible person he is? They always go, but I can fix it. I can change him.
what?
That's what
No.
they. A lot of
No.
women have that complex of I. I know you don't, Darvinique, because the second episode ever of Pretty Smart Pivoting, you talked about it.
Well, I know that's a mindset because I hear that all the time too. I
Wait a
see it
minute,
and
Sydney.
hear it. And that
Wait a
is,
minute, Sydney. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just did something very important. I guarantee you, Darby did not know that I would remember the second
I did
episode
not.
aired from 2.5 years ago.
I did not. I'm actually blown away that you. I'm like, whoa, what was that episode?
yeah, I'm not because it's
That's
you
impressive.
Oh
and
my
he
God.
knows everything you do.
It's
He
like,
has a great memory.
all right. Well, I have a great memory when
When
it
it
comes to
comes to
certain people.
Darvinique, he has a great memory.
This is true.
Me,
All right.
I'm in love with Keone.
I know, and he's in love with you. You love your love for each other.
I'm
We're
in
gonna be
love with this man.
mentally together forever.
For
You're
She's
mental
my
soulmates.
friend.
indeed,
Why not just be
indeed.
physical soulmates?
Well, because I've had conversations with Darvinique. You know, Most people who know me know I'm pansexual. I'm attracted to personalities.
Mhm.
And so when Darvinique talked about, because I used to be married, she talked about all that. And she's like, "You're so open to tell me these things." I said, "Yeah, and that's not a normal thing you can do with black women. Because if you've ever been on the other side of the fence with black women, that's a no-no. That's a done deal. You might as well not even have the conversation,
Yeah.
you know."
Mm.
So mentally, what does that do for me when I see somebody that's amazing and she finds me amazing, but I know I can't bring up my past or the true me because it's going to deter. And this is the funny thing because I've seen it happen. I've seen a guy who has that kind of past marry a woman. They've been together
Mm.
8 years and it's been amazing. And then that gets out, and then all of a sudden it's a train wreck.
Mm.
Oh, wow. Well, that wouldn't be fair because you have some women that went, that experienced a different lifestyle and that it was a phase that they went through, right? Everybody says they have a phase that they go through. What if a man passed the same judgment on a lady saying, "Oh, well, you've done that. I'm sorry."
It'll never happen. I know why
Yeah,
you brought it up because that's the thing. As a man, you're allowed to be a
it's
woman
mostly men's
that
fantasy.
experimented, but you don't want to hear some. And you could be 40 years old and you can say, when I was 19, I was in college, I got drunk and I experimented and I hated it. Never did it again. Doesn't matter if it was 30 years ago. Now you're labeled that.
You know what? I actually followed this gentleman on the internet, and he
Oh, it better
experienced
be
that.
on the internet.
And he and he experienced, life with another a man. He said he did it back in college. He realized it wasn't his thing, and so that's just not what he's into. And he said he tried it for a while, and it just wasn't his thing. And he realized he likes women,
Oh my
and
gosh, I did the same thing. I dated men and realized, oh, I like women. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
oh, dang
yeah.
it, I believed you.
That is the true thing. I do. I like women, but I'm saying I dated men, so I was being silly. Like I've done the same. I
I'm too
dated.
gullible. I'm too gullible for this. But yeah, and I'm like, okay, so what's the big deal? But he has so, you know, I'm sure he experienced so many red, flags, or not red flags, but red tape from people that say, oh, you've been with a man. I'm just never gonna. I can't. What?
Red flags. That's another thing when people are going through stuff. If I know someone,
Yeah.
like if a woman dates a man, and before they started dating, he calls women bitches and hoes. He's a little too aggressive. He's a serial cheater. Hell, how you found him was he cheated with you
Oh, he
while he
sounds.
was dating
Mm.
someone else. And then that same woman is surprised when that guy cheats on them.
Yeah, not surprising. He gave you
Okay,
all.
so
Four.
maybe that makes me think, Keone. She thought he would be changed because he's with her, and it was something so different with her that he wouldn't do it with her.
But maybe he feeds her that lingo.
Yes.
It doesn't matter about the lingo. You see what remember that joke Richard Pryor used
Oh,
to
it
say, are
is
you gonna
because
believe me or your lying eyes?
she's
You
trying
see
to
it
trust.
with your eyes. But no,
Yeah,
no, Sydney, I agree with you. I'm not disputing you, but that's the thing that annoys me. You see them doing this and
yeah.
behaving this way, and now you're dumbfounded that it happened to you because it wouldn't happen to me. He loves me differently. The
It's the
blinders,
blind.
there you go.
It's the
Okay,
blind.
so wait a minute. So that now that opens up another can of a conversation, right?
Mhm.
Because so you can be who you are at the core, meaning you have your own morals, your beliefs, your values, and things that your do's, your don'ts, your wills, your wants, and you carry that into every relationship, right? That's your bottom line.
Yeah.
However, you have certain relationships that people you get with, they bring out another version of you, even though you still have that foundation, right?
Mhm.
With some people, you're more silly. With some people, you're more serious. You're more business savvy. I mean, they just magnify that part within you the most, right? So, with that being said, you don't think that a person could possibly change based off of the person that they're with?
You can change off the person you're with.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm flabbergasted that if the person What did Maya Angelou say? When somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, but I also think a person can change for the right person or the person that they find motivated enough to change. That I think
Yeah.
very possible, but it's like
Hmm.
you like I feel like I changed a little bit for my wife, but she was worth every second, not really that much, but not extreme, but it's people can change
No,
if that person is
you are
important enough and they love that person enough, they will make those
you
changes.
They want to.
you are
If they want to,
so
they will.
true. You are so correct. And guys will do it to guys. How many times have you seen? And sometimes it's unfair. Sometimes a woman's not a hoe. And sometimes we know women that are hoes. But they do though. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife, right? We've seen guys like in
Oh,
their 30s, they married the girl that was known to get around, right? But
Hmm.
now this girl's 33 and she's ready to settle down, and you meet her, and what's everybody tell you? Man, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. You can't turn this. Maybe she's turned that chapter.
yeah.
Yes,
Time, but
that's
maybe
what I'm
she's turned that
saying.
chapter, and now they're being married for 20 years and have three
Yeah.
kids. And then I hate when people bring up the past. Like now it's 15 years
Mm.
down the road, and somebody's
Hmm.
like, man, like me and Darvinique married. They're like, oh, you married the tiny? Oh, like why are you bringing that, bro?
You
That
know
was
what's
so
funny?
long ago. Like, why are you bringing that up?
You
Yeah.
know what's funny about all the
Yeah.
guys who say you can't turn a hoe into a housewife? I want to know how many they've been with and if they're a hoe themselves.
Well, we are.
Mm.
That's a difference. Men are allowed to admit we're whores, so there's no
Because I
secret.
believe I believe the transition can happen. You can be once that and now you're the housewife.
Yeah.
I think
Vice
you should
versa
go
with
ahead
the
and do
with
what you
the
want to do
with
when
the
you're.
men.
Hmm.
Sydney, you looked astonished that I just said that. That was true. I mean, men.
No, I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
not at all. I'm just.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just. I'm being spicy. I'm just like
Okay.
because because the guy, you know what I mean. He's like, can't turn a hoe to a housewife. What's your number, hoe? What's your number?
Oh, we are hoes. We
Those two
pimp
can turn you into
players. I'm
a
a
husband.
player. We a player when we get them.
Can't turn a hoe into a husband. I'm gonna. That's my
I
new one.
always love that
So
they call the woman the hoe, and then they be in their
Right?
DMs
And you
because
a
now
slut,
she's
bitch.
trying to get
Like,
some.
don't call me
I
the
got a,
hoe.
I got a, I got a scenario. Okay, I got a scenario.
Yeah.
So there's this guy. Of course, we can't say no names, but I got to use the situation. I got to use the situation. Been in a relationship for 15 years, and he realizes that they are just
Oh,
different.
you figure it out.
Say it again. What would you say, Keone?
No, I was talking to this beautiful thing that walked by me.
Pff,
So, um, what?
Got her.
No, I know he's kidding.
Look,
I know
look.
you wanted me to bite it, so I just had to bite it for the show. So, 15 years. Y'all are funny. He's been with this person, and he's realized at the time when they got together, he thought they wanted something different. I mean, he wanted something different, something completely opposite. He didn't want to date the ratchets anymore. This woman was so different, and he thought that it would be better. And don't get me wrong, his life has changed for the better. But then he realized it wasn't the different that he really thought he needed. And he's feeling like they've come to a place where they've just grown apart. Things are copacetic, it's not toxic, um, but he just finds himself not being interested. You
And
know,
they're still together.
they're still together.
That's what annoys me.
And
yeah.
so there's more.
We get
And
to live one,
so,
and you want to waste your time doing that. But go ahead, continue.
and because there's so much time that's been invested in their relationship, he finds it hard to leave because there was this history of both of them starting from the bottom. They've built something, they've become stable in their lives, they work together. Economically, they're great. Okay, what is this? What time in, please?
It's the mental, the whole thing we're talking about. You are
Yes.
mentally blocking yourself and keeping yourself in that. And that's what we talk about when we talk about mental health. The only one
So
that's keeping you in that copacetic relationship that you need to be out of is you and your mentality and your thinking
yeah,
and your fear.
Yeah.
You
fear.
only live one time. I watched I'm not going to say because, certain people might watch this. I've watched people that have been married for 60 years, and when their husband dies, they're like, "Oh my God, I can live my life. It was so miserable." You 70 now. What life is you living?
Right.
So, because
So
remember I said
occasional
about the cap, right?
the cap.
Remember I said every relationship has a cap, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
what you're going to
yes.
tell me is because that's why me and my wife divorced. We were together 12 years. I said, we did 12 years. So because we did 12 years, why should I torment you for 15 more because we invested 12 years? Now we just invested 15 more. So now I took up 30 years of your life. That's not good math, but you know what I mean.
No, I agree. When you guys could actually move on
So
and find good people on the other side or be happy somewhere else, and it would just be wasting. So,
what I'm feeling in the midst of this conversation, and I'll get back to adding on more to that story. But what I'm feeling like is that if we can keep an open mind, a healthy, open mental state, that
Hmm.
things could last forever, but if they don't, be okay with the transition and know when it's time to change.
yeah.
Know when the seasons are up. Like I love Keone and his former wife's relationship. They had a conversation, and I always say this, but this is one of the probably the most beautiful things that he ever shared with me in regards to that relationship. That he still cared for her because he loved her. It's just that they weren't together. It wasn't going to work with them together anymore. But he still gave her some level of support in the midst of that transition. Like what? That's unheard of.
It
That is
is.
It's
unheard
unheard
of.
of. We're just not all in the circle. Yeah, well, it's
It's
rare. Well, and
it's
you know what?
rare.
But it circles back to what I said in the beginning. You know why I was able? So, what everybody who doesn't know what she's saying is, me and my wife, we married in 2007. We separated in 2013, and we were still married until 2 years ago. Okay,
Mhm.
that's almost another decade, right? And the reason why is because, and she met a very, very awesome dude in like 2015. And so for the next 7 years, they wanted to get married, but both of their insurances were terrible. So I said, when somebody gets good insurance, I'll do the divorce because I wanted to make sure she was
Taking
um,
care.
taken care of, you know.
Pause.
What?
Astounding. What?
But see,
Usually it's
but the reason why is, but here's the reason why I can do that and why it shouldn't be rare. Now, if I would stayed in that relationship and then got to the point where I was unhappy and then I was making her
mm,
unhappy and then it got toxic, why the hell would I pay for her insurance? That'll be
yeah,
exactly the attitude. What attitude we hear from that? A lot of divorces. But
yes,
because we realize this relationship has capped,
Yeah.
let's stop while we still like each other. you know?
what a oh, that's so good. Okay,
Just
so can I
look
oh,
at those people who divorce and they have kids, but they co-parent very well. They separated before it got toxic. They didn't stay together for the kids and then it got toxic and now they hate each other and they're fighting and using the kids as weapons.
Yeah.
Those turn
that's
out
good.
very differently from the ones who divorce when it's good.
That's what we're going back to.
It's like Blake.
Okay? Yeah,
He's
that's the thing. You have to be mentally healthy to even not even to acknowledge that because some people will acknowledge that and still press and still try to drive and extend the relationship and still try to make it work and force, right? But you have to be aware that we're at a cap.
yeah.
And do you think people prior to getting married should have discussions like this about possible caps? Of course, we're getting into this in hopes that it would last forever, but in the instant that it doesn't,
That's what we did. It's just like if me and you were together, Sydney, and now we're getting, we're 50, and we don't plan on dying anytime soon, but, it's not a terrible idea to talk about wills and arrangements and all that for in the future. It could be 40 years from now. You got to be scared to talk about stuff. Hey, listen, and this is the conversation my wife had. Oh my God, I loved her to death. Everything's a fairy tale. Hey, if it ever gets to the point where you want out, let me know. Don't hold it. This is not saying let's put it. People think you're putting it into someone's mind. You're
yeah,
not. You're just having it. What do we always say? You're an adult now.
grown folks,
Why can't
yeah,
adults have adult conversations?
come on, right?
Why can't adults have adult conversations?
People get in denial about, oh, you're saying that it's going to end if you say, if you want to walk out, or if you feel like it's come to an end, say something.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why there's a couple things people need to do. Number one, women. It's not about being independent, being a boss chick, or being a housewife. It's not either or. No matter what you do, is what you do. But if you're going to be a housewife, what are you doing with the time that you are at the house? That you once you've done whatever you want to do, chores, get the kids ready, or whatever. What are you doing with that little extra money? Are you taking courses in something that if something happens, you have something
Mm,
to fall back on, or you have some knowledge or something? Why, if you've never gone to school, why aren't you doing online schooling while you're at home?
Yeah.
Have something so that, and that's sometimes what helps because people do have a fear and stay together when they don't have nothing. You know,
mm,
Yep.
don't let yourself go. I know women that I used to personal train that came to me when I was a personal trainer going, you know
yeah.
what? I just realized because I told them this. I said, why are you going to sit around the house, do your chores, make sure the kids are good and all that, and you letting yourself go to the side? He's working, still going to the gym and doing all that. There's no guarantee that once those kids leave that nest, he's still going to find you attractive. How are you going to put
Mm,
together? Well, on birthday, anniversary, that's already a problem. If you need to sleep together on special occasions, that's already problem number one.
Mm.
Because now, when he gets rid of you, because he has a great job and he can get another girl. Now here
mm.
you are, older, overweight. You done popped out three puppies.
Puppies.
How are you going to make yourself desirable to the same type of person that you caught the first time? So
Mm.
Mm,
that's for men too, because men will. They say men break down like old trucks. We know men that let themselves go now that they're married. And you ever seen a woman? She's so fine, and you look at his man, and you're like, he must got money because he is broke down.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
when he leaves him, who's coming?
Mm,
I mean, if she's
So
smart, she'll have a good paycheck coming her way.
you
But
have to understand your worth and who you are and what you can do after you leave, and not have a fear of leaving, because leaving at the right moment can save the relationship between you and that person to
yes.
the end of time, especially if there's kids involved.
true that.
Yeah. I think, and so, this person doesn't have kids, they're not married, and, you know, that person just realized the differences that they have between each other. It's what was the words that they use? It's copacetic, but it's not what I want.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It's not toxic, it's not bad, but it's not what I want. It's
Yeah.
manageable, and I've been quote content with the discontent.
Hmm.
Yeah. And sometimes, and listen, here's another thing: you don't have to get married.
True.
There is no law that says you. I know so. How many of these have you seen? The relationships where somebody's dating for 6 years and everybody else around them is like, "When y'all gonna get married?" They're not the
Yeah.
ones pushing; it's everybody around. So then they finally get married, and the marriage lasts 2 years, and then they're separated.
Wow.
They were happier
Stay
dating.
together. It can be a life partner. You don't have to.
Yeah, there's no law that says you have to get married. Now, I understand if you want certain benefits and all that. I mean, you got to be married.
Suppose even not being married, you just have to share an address for a certain amount of times.
Well, I mean, that depends on where you live. There's some places that recognize, what do they call it, common law marriages or whatever it's called,
Honestly,
more than other states. Some
yeah,
states, they don't give a crap if you live together for 20 years. If you ain't married, you ain't entitled to nothing, you
that's true.
know?
Mm,
I guess
Um,
I live in
yeah.
a place where common law is a thing. So,
yeah. So don't pressure yourselves into getting married. People, when someone wants to get married, the question is, why do you want to get married? And then let's hear the reasons why.
well, I think
Mm,
a lot of times, especially for women, they get so wrapped up in the wedding, we forget about the marriage.
mm,
And
yes.
that's where I didn't ever want to be when I got married. If I got married, it wasn't going to be about the wedding because I think we get so wrapped up and there's so much pressure to be that bride and they think about the
Yes.
happy ending.
Mentally, why does that happen? You know why that happens?
Why?
Look at the way, and it's not as much today as it was
Society.
back in the day. What are most women, especially the
Oh,
ones
as
around my
children
age, were
told.
taught when they were children? You
Yeah.
know,
Cinderella syndrome.
man, a
Cinderella, Jasmine,
little
Aurora, all these
family.
Disney princesses.
Look at your toys. You get princess dolls and easy bake ovens back
Yeah,
then. Learn how to cook at 3.
yeah. I had the Easy Bake Oven. Love that thing.
Me
And some of
too.
the best little baked goods I got came from that little nasty box. I don't understand it.
The nasty box. Yep. That's
It
so
literally
true.
did. I would cook some undercooked cake in there, and that cake was good.
So I think, man, okay, I keep circling back around this because this is a huge conundrum for this person. They're Keone, you said it, fear. They're afraid to leave, and they're married to the time that was invested, not the person.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
100%. I mean, think about it. If you own a house with your person, you guys are getting divorced, it's the fear of losing what you have, too. Like
But they're
like
not married, but they still did a lot together.
so if they have stuff together, it's the fear of losing, depending on what people have, it can be the fear of losing what you have, that life you built. And I think that's,
Yeah,
Keone said that too. It's like the life you built. Like I
yeah, the
it's
comfort and that you've built a, even though it's it probably was an idea, but the lifestyle that was created out of the building, you want that still. You want to
yeah.
sustain that.
I can't even imagine.
Wow,
Thank God I'm in a different spot in my marriage, but it's like I can't even
wow,
imagine being on the other end where it's like we bought a house together. Who gets the house? I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to leave
yeah,
anything. You know what I mean? Like you think about these things, and I can see from that
yeah,
perspective. It's hard to just leave.
yeah, yeah.
Everything
Well,
together
going back to what, oh, I'm
alone.
sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
wait, I just wanted to bring this up. So it's an article from the
Sorry.
1950s. So that's already going to
Oh
make you
my
look.
gosh.
And I saw this article a long time ago. That's what I was Googling. Tips on how to take care of your family and your husband for
Mm.
women. Have dinner ready. Plan ahead, even the night before, to have delicious meal on time. This is a way of letting him know that you have been thinking about him and are concerned about his needs. Prepare yourself. Take 15 minutes to rest so you will be refreshed when he arrives. Touch up on your makeup, put a ribbon in your hair, and be fresh looking. He has just been with a lot of work and working weary people. Be a little gay and a little more interesting. Not lesbian, Sydney. Be a little gay, meaning happy. Okay. Clear away clutter. Make sure you clear away the clutter. Make one last trip through the main part of the house just before your husband arrives, gathering up school books, toys, papers, etc. Then run a dust cloth over the tables. Prepare the children. Take a few minutes to wash the children's hands and faces. If they are small, comb their hair and if necessary, change their clothes. They are little treasures and he would like to see them playing the part. Minimize all noise. At the time of his arrival, eliminate all noise of washers, dryers, dishwashers, or vacuums. Try to encourage the children to be quiet. Be happy to see him. Greet him with a warm smile. Some don't. Don't greet him with problems or complaints. Don't complain if he's late for dinner. Count this as a minor compared to what he must have dealt with during the day.
Don't question the man.
Make him comfortable. Listen to him. Make the evening his. The goal, try to make your home a place of peace and joy.
Sydney's throwing up.
And can renew himself in body and spirit.
All I hear is teaching men weaponize incompetence. That's all I hear. They do nothing. They
Mm.
come home. You are part of this family
My
too.
favorite part was don't greet him with complaints if he's a little late. That's a minor inconvenience compared to
And
what he's
don't question
doing.
him.
Mm.
Shut up. That's so stupid. Like, I feel bad for women. Like, listen, I get some of that. Like, if you want to be a homemaker and you want to provide the food and do all that, beautiful. Do what you are feel like doing. I think that's a beautiful thing for women to do for their men if that's what they like. Like, but it's like just the whole like how to be a good wife and you're not if you're this, and it's so the standard they placed on them. Like
It's
every
so subjective.
mental, like that would cause me to have a lot of mental
Well,
illness.
because any one of those things that you did wrong, your immediate brain is, I'm a bad wife.
Think about that. Did
Yeah.
women
And then
struggle
when
with
you would go to your, oh,
that?
I'm sorry, Sydney.
No, I
When
was
you would
saying
go to your mom complaining about your marriage, she would say, well, you do need to, like, especially the mother-in-laws, they got the bad raps. Because it would
yes.
be the mother-in-law that walks through, goes, these banisters are dusty.
What about
Are
the women?
you feeding
Yeah.
these children? You're a terrible
Yeah.
wife.
Right.
Yeah. And that there is, that's what I'm saying, like in that time, in the years, did women struggle with that? Did they have a lot of, mental issues that they
They
had to
did.
deal with, that they had no name for, because they were demeaned and told they weren't
No,
good
you'd
enough?
be being crazy and then you get locked up. Remember, your husband could commit you.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't
Mm.
commit him, but he could commit you.
Oh, I just feel bad. Like, I just, poor women, the
That's
1900s.
I
why I
think we're
love
at
reading
a
stories about women back then who were like in charge, like they
Try
were
that
boss
nowadays.
chicks back then, like they tell men what to do, you know.
Oh,
Oh,
hello.
yeah. We didn't even look at the time. We were just rolling.
Yeah,
I
and
love
Hey,
it. I
Minga
love
came
it.
to tell us, she's like, it's been a while, and you just gave me the hot
yeah.
dog breath
I'll
yawn.
let you two ladies take us out because I got to get ready for big show that comes on in 12 minutes.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Keone.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know, take it away.
Yeah. Me? Take
Oh, by
it
the way, Morgan says hi. I saw her today. She's coming back.
Hi, Morgan.
away. Hey.
No, I mean, this is a good topic. I mean, there's a lot of things we always get off topic.
I want to say, I know, because this will jack with my mental health as well,
Yeah.
right? All of that checklist. Who
Hmm.
says it has to be like that? And I think it depends on the people in the relationship and what works for them. If
Yes,
it
that's
doesn't work for them, it's gonna cause the mental chaos.
yes, homemaker beautiful. If it works for you, do all
Yeah.
of that. But don't, this list of what makes you a proper woman is what is you about it. Like, that does not make you a good wife. Whatever works for you and your household makes you a good wife. And same with the husband.
mm, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like, but
Veronique, why don't you buy a woman a watch?
Why don't I've never heard that before.
you
I
can
have a
buy me a
watch.
watch.
Well,
Yeah.
why don't you buy a woman a watch?
Is this a joke? I don't know. I've never heard of that before.
Because there's already a clock on the stove.
Oh God. Get out of here.
Oh my gosh, that's so wrong.
John, have you ever watched Snapped? There is one. There's got to be one out there where somebody cuts up somebody and puts them in the damn pie. So be
That would
careful.
be a good reason to put them in the oven and turn that timer on.
Hook you up.
It has been a great night. This
Carol
was such
Baskin
a
did it
great
because ain't nobody
show.
find her husband, so she
This
done
was
cooked
such
it
a
up and fed it to the
this
tigers.
was such a great show. Darvinique was here. She hasn't been in a while, so I love it was here.
No.
And I'm just happy Darvinique was here because I'm probably gonna have sweet dreams.
Oh God, here we
I
go.
know she tastes like
Poor
caramel.
Nick. He's in love with you. Just marry
You
him.
know what? Get him back because he goes, I saw someone
I'm
walking
sorry. I've never done this. I
across
turned
the.
the ending off. Who has a man?
I have a man.
First of all, that's a lie.
Do you want to see him?
No, I do not want to see your dildo. I'm out of here.